use the raised hand feature. We'll open it straight to questions. Kyle Tucker, start us off.
Lance, in the little snippets we see of him off the court, he seems like such a he happy-go-lucky guy. But then when stuff hits the fan during the game, he's like a guy into the fray. And I think one of his teammates called him the other day. What do you see from him in that regard? His person, what he gives you guys, personality-wise.
I'll be honest with you, he plays the same way in practice as he does in the game. He does the same things in practice. He's a hard-nosed, hard-playing kid. I mean, that's the bottom line. I don't think it's much difference the way we practice. I mean, he's a great kid off the floor. You know, we have a lot of fun because we're from the same area, so we talk about a lot of the same things. But you know, he battles in practice. You know, he brings that same toughness to practice and plays the same way in practice. So there's no difference when he gets out there in the game.
Daryl Bird.
Yeah, Coach, I was wondering, I mean, Lance is never going to lead the team in scoring or anything like that. But does every roster of a really good team need a Lance Ware?
All right, every roster needs a player that comes in and plays his role and plays it very well. If you're going to be a really good team, everybody needs that, and he does that. The thing about Lance is he's been working extremely hard, and he's gotten better. He's playing with a lot more confidence. He's finishing plays. He's catching balls. I mean, those are the types of things he struggled with at times, even last year. But this year, I think he's got his time in the gym has really paid off. His confidence in terms of stepping on the floor. One thing about him, he's one of our smarter players. So you know, he has an understanding of what we're doing and what we're looking for. But I think the biggest thing for him is he's put his time in and it's starting to pay off for him. But every team needs a guy like that who's going to come in and play his role, especially if you're going to be really good.
Gary Tipton.
Yeah, Bruiser, I'm assuming you guys reviewed the Florida game. I'm wondering what you saw in the play where McKissick went into Ty's lower leg, and then later when Lance seemed to kind of, I hate to say sling, but kind of move the guy to the floor, and then the Florida guy comes and bumps him. What did you guys see in there? Anything noteworthy or protest?
Well, I thought they should at least call the foul on the tie play. I don't think they called anything. So they didn't call anything with that. So that should have been at least a foul. But I don't think the kid was doing it intentionally. I just think it was a loose ball. You know, most of the time when a kid comes in and he does that in your huddle in front of your bench, they usually give out a technical, but they didn't. You know, it was a little odd the way those two were wrapped up with the ball and how it got slung. But there was nothing after that, and then the kid came running in. But I mean, what can you do? They didn't call anything. They just broke it up and they just went back in. But usually they call that a technical, but they didn't.
I noticed watching the replay that Lance kind of walked away with a big smile on his face after the guy comes and bumps him. What, if anything, does that say to a coach?
I mean, you know, Lance was dialed in. He was ready to go. I think that's the biggest thing right there. He wasn't going to let this affect him, or to the point, he wasn't going to let it escalate. I mean, so he wasn't going to jump back in the guy's face. So, you know, somebody jump off the bench and get suspended or something like that. So he just, you know, cooler heads prevailed. The kid bumped him. You know, the coaches jumped up and it was right in front of our bench. So guys jumped up and sort of broke it up. And that's what he did. He just walked away.
Kyle Tucker, go ahead.
Even before some of us kind of could see or consistent results, Cal started doing the thing that kind of it took on a life of its own, the how about thing. You know, you play a couple minutes in a game and Cal would come out and say, how about Lance? Been with Cal a long time. How good is Cal at sort of guy like that at the end of the bench who he knows he's going to need and going to count on down the stretch and speaking into existence, that guy's sort of emergent.
Cal always talks about being ready for your opportunity. You never know when it's coming. So I think he's the best at that. And, you know, he talks to guys about, hey, I didn't play you today, but be ready. So he preaches, be ready for your opportunity. Guys who don't play. come into practice, get yourself going. You never know when I'm going to put you in the game, but be ready for your opportunity. You know, he knows up and down. I mean, he's coached really good players up and down the line. Some guys don't get opportunities that people think they should get. But one thing he does preach to those guys all the time is be ready when your time comes. And I think Lance is taking advantage of that. You know, he's been able to plug. Yeah, it's hard. You know, Cal talks about it to the players about how hard it is not to play, and then being put in the game. He knows how hard it is. You know, it's a tough situation at times, but he preaches that. Be ready for your opportunity. I know it's tough sometimes when you don't play, and then you stick you in the game, but be ready all the time. You never know when it's going to happen. So he talks about that a lot.
Gabriel.
Yeah, Bruiser, you guys, when you beat Tennessee, played one of the best games, at least statistically, in the history of Rupp Arena. They shot well too. And now you got to return the game, obviously. And you know they're going to be laying late. The players know that. Because it's fairly obvious. Do you guys even mention that? Do you even go there in pregame prep, or do you just treat it like any other road game where you know you're going to face a hostile crowd, but you've done it before? But they got a little extra something going for them this time.
I mean, with the media, the way the media is today, you're gonna hear everything. So, you know, we just got to get ourselves ready. We know we're going into a hostile environment, but we go into a hostile environment every game we play. The one thing Cal says that is true that I've learned since I've been here, that we are everybody's Super Bowl. When you prepare to some of these games and you watch the stands from some of these games, and then you go in and we playing, you see it's a big difference. And I know Tennessee, you know, I'm new to this, so I know Tennessee is a pretty big rivalry. So the Tennessee Kentucky game is pretty big. But you know, if I'm those guys, I remember that we lost by 30 and they scored 100 points against us. So I'm sure that the guys here know that, and we got to be ready for it. If not, they're gonna try to do the same thing to us.
What's it been like for you to experience the Super Bowl effect of Kentucky since moving here? Obviously, it wasn't that way at your other coaching stop.
It wasn't bad in Indiana, but not like this. But I mean, every game, you know, it was funny. We had just played the Texas A&M game, and we were here against Mississippi State, and I was talking to their coaches, and they talked about going to Kansas, and I was like, honestly, you know, we just came from a school that just had 14,000 that was averaging like 8. So going into those types of games is not a big deal for us. I don't think we get overwhelmed by the surroundings, because we always get it. So you know, just being able to be prepared for that, knowing that we're going to get the other team's best effort pretty much every night, and when we go on the road, we're going to get the best effort from the fans.
John Hale.
Roger, how important is the role that Davion Mintz has filled for you, and how difficult is it as he's kind of, you know, gone in and out of the starting lineup as other guys have gotten hurt and gone back to the 6-man role? Just what does that maybe say about his mentality, being able to do whatever you do?
I mean, his is different because he knows he's going to play pretty much every game, but the same thing preaching, be ready for your opportunity. So his opportunity is maybe he may start if somebody gets hurt. But Davion's been really, really good with it. I mean, when you come off the year that he had last year, he's played a different role and he's accepted it. Again, you know, we talked about Lance and him accepting his role and what he's doing. Davion has done an unbelievable job with that, accepting his role, because he had a different role last year. You know, me and him sort of talked about that at the beginning of the season, and he's fit right in. But like I said, if you want to have a great team, everybody has to play their role. And he's been playing really good basketball. One thing I've always said about Davion, you never worry about his effort. I think, you know, he's a tough kid. He plays hard for you. And, you know, when he starts shooting the ball for you, he just makes you that much better team. He takes your team to another level. But he's accepted knowing that I'm going to be in there every night. I'm going to play important minutes. And I'm going to be a big part of the team, because him coming off the bench is a big part for us, because there's not a lot of letdown when he goes into the game.
Jeff Drummond.
Yeah, Bruiser, Tennessee's won, I think, 7 of 8 since you guys put it on them pretty good. What do you see in watching them since that game? And have they changed anything or just gotten a lot better at what they're doing?
Well, they had an injury, so they're playing way bigger than they did probably the first time. Hatfield and the other big foreign kid. So those two guys are starting. They didn't start in the game. They didn't play that much, but those two guys are starting. They play a little bit, way more minutes than they have been playing in the first game. But I still think Tennessee, Rick Barnes is a guy who's been around for a long time, so he does what he does. They're gonna play you hard. They're gonna play you tough. They're gonna play real physical against you. Play up in the passing lanes. They're just a little bit bigger, but they've played well. But they were that type of team before we played them. We just we just had a great game that night, but they were the same type of team before we play them. Now their personnel has changed a little bit. They're probably more bigger and more physical than they were in their first game, so we got to be prepared for that.
Gary Tipton, back to you.
Bruiser, you guys are ranked really high in several offensive categories. What's the key there? Why is it just simply really good players? And how do you account for being so effective offensively?
Well, we sprint the ball. We understand what we do on offense. I think guys, again, it goes back to playing their roles. And we play really fast. And I think one of the big things is we pass the ball to one another. I want to say the last game was 17 assists, only 5 turnovers. I mean, when you have that type of stuff, when people share the ball, that's what makes you a really good offensive team. You better be ready because you're going to get the ball if you're open. I think we're very, very, very unselfish. And we got good balance. Oscar plays around the basket. We get good shooting. We get good penetration. I mean, we got good balance offensively. But I've always said this about the team. I think the thing that goes understated is how good we play on defense. I think our defense is as good as anybody's in the country. And I think that shows on our offense. As a coach myself, I just always say we reward good defense with good offense, but we really reward good defense with good offense.
And I wondered, I'm assuming you can't give us an update on Ty's availability or Jacob's availability. But if you can, please do. But I'm wondering, do you ever feel star-crossed that there's so many guys, you've got a lot of nicks and so far minor injuries, but how does that play on your mind?
I mean, I don't know if it plays on mine at all, as long as we get them back. So we've had a couple injuries, but we've played well. Guys have stepped up in their absences. When we lost Ty, when we lost Xavier, guys have stepped up in their absences and they've played well. So like I said, from the first question that was asked today about guys playing their roles, guys are ready. Cal talked about being ready. You never know what's going to be. We've got, Bryce had to come in and play a lot. He's played a lot. And Davion had to come in and play. He's played. So our guys have been ready to do when we've had to play Davion at the point guard because the other two guys have been out. I mean, those guys have all stepped into their roles and did what we asked them to do. And that's one reason why we've had the success that we've had.
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, going back to Lance a little bit, how rare is it for a top four to, it seems like he has from day one kind of had the mentality of I have a big picture and I'm okay with whatever role I have initially and just sort of being developed. And it just seems like he has a pretty rare mentality for recruiting business.
I mean, I think everybody should think that way. Yeah, I'm a little old school where I want to say, you waited your time when I played and played college basketball. But again, it goes back to his work ethic. The kid has worked hard. That's why he's playing with a lot more confidence. That's why he's seeing the floor a little bit more. One thing about when you're a coach, you got to have confidence in the guys that you put into the game. That's the bottom line. I don't care how talented they are or anything. If you don't have confidence as a coach that when I put them in the game, I think I'm going to get what I'm going to get out of them, you don't put them in. And I think that's the big thing with Lance. We know what we're going to get from him. We know that he's put his time and his work in to work hard, and he's confident going out in the basketball game, and he does a good job of it.
Tyler Thompson, finish us out.
Bruiser, you've known Cal for a long, long time. It seems like when he talks about this group, he really, really likes them. What have you noticed about his approach with this group? And have you ever heard him talk about a team like this? They execute a game plan better than anybody, all these old guys, et cetera.
Well, I've only been with him for 2 years. I mean, I've talked to him in the past about certain things, but I mean, I'm there and I see it. And what he's saying is true. And I've been, this is only, like I said, it's only my second year, but one thing he's right about. We really do a good job, and Chin does a good job of getting the guys together, and we really do a good job of carrying it out. I mean, our game planning, our things like that, our adjustments that we make, our players are really good with it. And Cal lets them know it. I mean, that's the biggest thing right there. And he tells them, you guys, this is probably the best group I've ever had in terms of when we talk about what we want to do in the game. And then not only that, too, what we want to do in the game, but the adjustments within the game. This team has been the best he said he's been around. So he's just being honest with them. And I think the players appreciate that. I think coaches sometimes don't let their players know, like, hey, we appreciate what y'all do for us in terms of y'all make it easier for us in terms of your concentration level and your game readiness. And when things have to be changed, what you do. I mean, coaches appreciate that. That's when you know you got a special team.
All right, thank you so much, Bruiser. We'll have Lance
You know, Lance, the other night after the game, Severe with a big smile on his face referred to you as the team's enforcer. Is that kind of a badge of honor for you? How do you react to that?
Yeah, I mean, I take any badge that I can get with honor, especially on this team. Having such great players. If that's my role to be an enforcer, then like I've been saying since the beginning of the year, and even last year, I'm just going to do whatever it takes. That if I could bring that into the game, and that's what they need me to do, then I have no problem, doing any role. No job is too little for me. I'm willing to do whatever, and if that's what that is, to be the enforcer, then yeah, I can do that.
Gary?
Yeah, Lance, I wanted to ask you about that play late in the game against Florida where you were going for a loose ball with Myron Jones, and he kind of gets, it seemed like you kind of slung him to the floor, and then the Florida guy comes and bumps you. I wonder if you watched the replay of that, or what you thought, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's basketball, especially like high level games. They obviously want to beat us. We want to win. We're at home. They're trying to do anything to win. We're trying to do anything we can to win, and emotions get high. So, I mean, it's all love inside the sport. Stuff happens, but the main goal is to play basketball. If we wanted to be boxers, then we would go box, and MMA and all that stuff. Which I did work on in the off season. I did take a few boxing classes just in case. But yeah.
Just in case of what?
Just in case anything happens that I have to be prepared. Proper preparation.
Wow. I wonder if the Lance on the court is a different Lance than the Lance off the court. And if so, how would you describe those two Lances?
I wouldn't say they're too much of a difference. I think I'm kind of the same, like high intensity all the time, whether that be at 7 a.m. or 3 a.m. or whatever time it is. I think I'm high intensity. So I think it's pretty much the same. I'm always ready to go and have fun, and whether that be competing in anything, I'm always gonna give it my all.
Kyle Tucker?
Yeah, Lance, no job is too little for you. How did you come to have this mindset? I would say it's unusual for a top 40 recruit to sort of be patient, small roles, and try to grow them into bigger roles, but whatever you get, you sort of seem to be content with. How did you come about that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm like, I want to win, obviously, but that obviously comes with, my family, always keeping me humble, and you just know, no job is too little. Everybody has to play a role, and whether that role be, anything in life or on the basketball court, everybody has a role. So like I said, no job is too little. And it's just not being so much content with it, but just knowing like that's where I'm at, and always looking, to grow, like you said. Like I always want to be able to improve my role, and like Kyle says that all the time. If you want a bigger role, then you have to show him that you need a bigger role. So just just keep on working, and I would have to give shout out to my family for instilling that in me ever since I was young.
Kyle, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, just I wonder too, with that mentality, how much more than whatever time you get when you know that you really truly sort of earned it and scrapped.
Well, you're cutting out a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said, how much more rewarding is the knowing that you kind of fought for it, earned it that way?
Yeah, I mean, everything, when you have to earn something, it feels so much better than when it's just given to you. If Coach you gave me all those minutes, and I really might have not been deserving of them, but just to know that I was put in situations this year where I didn't play that much, or I didn't play at all, and just to earn something is always feels good to earn something.
Ron Hale?
And speaking of roles, the one that Davion is playing for you all this year is very different than what you all needed him to do last year.
Yeah.
Just how important is he to this group, and how did you see him kind of adapt to that over the course of the summer and then into the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge on Davion's part because he's playing so well. And like you kind of said, like last year, he played a completely different role than when he plays this year. The only thing that I would say that stays the same is, shot making, what she's able to do. But just for him to be able to, like you said, transition from, being go-to to, coming off the bench and still producing and still doing what he has to do is big time. And it shows a lot about his character because, he could have easily pouted and been sad that he was playing 30 minutes or how many ever minutes he did last year. And, some games this year, that's not the case. But Davion as a person, he's super strong mentally. And I just he's kind of like me, any type of situation he's put in, I know that he's going to work for it and, want to make the best out of his situation.
Adam?
Hey, Lance, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Just wondering how much you kind of follow the Camden guys and how Camden's doing this year, and if you're in DJ's ear at all about trying to recruit him to come to Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, I watch, obviously I watch the games and stuff because, I went there and I obviously have, relationships with, the coaches, the players, but I kind of just, when me and DJ speak, it's not more about basketball or it's not about, Kentucky. I kind of think that's more for, him and his parents to decide and him, to figure out stuff like that. So yeah, I kind of just keep it more like what's up, how's practice, how's Coach Brunson treating you, because I know that could be a handful, and just checking up on them.
This is the last year of the TOC in New Jersey. Would be kind of cool if they could win it.
Yeah, I think they can win it. You could say for the past, since I was there my senior year, last year and this year, that maybe they could have had 3 TOCs. Never know, but COVID obviously took that away. But they have a really good team, really good coach, and so they definitely have a chance.
Thanks and good luck.
Thank you.
Eric?
Yeah, Lance, I was wondering, how much does it mean to you to have your teammates kind of rave about you on social media Saturday? And how does it kind of help this team succeed that guys are genuinely happy for one another when someone kind of steps up and succeeds the way you did on Saturday?
That's what makes it so special. I mean, every game it's somebody else. Even though Oscar had 20 and 18 or whatever he had, no, 27 and 18. I'm sorry, 28 or something. They still, showed me love, and that's kind of what it is. It could be anybody. Just for example, kind of like Keon against Kansas. Everybody's gonna have that game, like Xavier against North Carolina. Everybody's super happy for one another because we know how much work we put in with each other, and alone. So to see your brother succeed is, can't ask for much more.
Gabriel?
Lance, regarding your boxing experience, with those long arms, how's your jab?
Left jab is pretty decent. Just like anything else, you still got to work on it. Get my feet right, and it'd be all right. But boxing is really hard though. It uses every muscle. So it was in the summer, I went probably 8 to 9 times. It was fun though. Good workout, good experience, and something I definitely look forward to, doing.
Anybody capable of even getting into your body with that root for years?
Nah, I don't think anybody can get in my body. I think I got a pretty good guard, and I know how to move a little bit.
Keith Farmer?
Lance, you're going into a hostile environment Tuesday, but what you also probably have a really good. Tennessee will have great attention, to detail on this game after what you all did the last time. Just what are your expectations from them as you head down that way?
To give us their best game. Like everybody else, they're gonna, I know the arena is gonna be crazy. I know that their coach is gonna want to win. Everybody on the team, is gonna want to win. It's kind of gonna be revenge for what happened last game. But it's really about us, as long as we follow and do the stuff that we've been doing these past 2 games, and, stick to the plan, I think we should be okay. I mean, win or lose, if we execute and do what we have to do, that's all we can ask for.
Jerry, back to you.
Well, Lance, I got a couple. I wonder if you guys have a motto or anything that talk about to like inspire you or anything like that.
That a motto. I mean, I wouldn't say that we have a motto, but we kind of have like a common goal, which is just try to go out there and destroy the opponent. I wouldn't say we have a motto. I mean, we obviously have little stuff that we say, but no, I wouldn't say a motto.
And I wondered, not to bring up Davion, an embarrassing thing with the air ball free throw.
Oh,
Saturday.
for real? That's what you're the only person that's gonna bring that up?
I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
What,
Like
how
I,
much kidding did you get from teammates or anything?
I mean, it's basketball. Stuff happens. I don't think that, coach said something about it, but besides then, we kind of let it go. I think that I forgot about it after it happened. With stuff like this, you have to have short memory. Just keep on playing and, things happen.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah, Lance, I might be off on this one, but I've heard of basketball players that some will take ballet in the offseason to help flexibility. And I've heard with boxing, it can help your foot speed. Was there any of that in taking those lessons?
Yeah, definitely. That was definitely one of the main reasons why I took one of those lessons. I mean, not lessons, well, some of the classes. Boxing is great for your foot speed. You do movements that you haven't used playing basketball. Using muscles that you haven't used. It's just an overall great workout. And when you play basketball for so long, well, not even so long, but just long enough that you need something else to do workout wise, and something different to change up your routine, and something fun while still getting better. So foot speed and like agility, stuff like that, definitely helped. I think like the first 3 times that I went to the classes, like the next morning I was super, super sore. Like nothing I ever experienced.
Just curious, were there times early on in some of the games when you realized, hey, that's something I picked up in boxing, some little move you made?
Yeah, just not even moves, just my ability to run, just foot speed in general, just being able to move my feet. I think I definitely improved a whole bunch from last year, foot speed wise. So I could kind of give credit to boxing for that.
Any other questions for Lance? If not, we will let him go. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning.